Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining IBM for the session today. This is an excellent session, and I can tell already because you guys chose it, and this looks like a great crowd. So our session that's about to start is Turn IT Operational Efficiency into Competitive Advantage. So we're going to discuss how Apptio and Planning Analytics give real-time visibility into spend and resource usage. This will allow you to turn operational efficiency into a strategic business advantage. That's what we all want, and this isn't just a regular tech session. I've had time to spend with the speakers, and they're fantastic. They have fun things for you in store today. So I'm going to start by introducing our first speaker, Phil Alfano with Apptio and IBM Company. Come on out, Phil.
Hi, everybody. Woo! I always like to come out to entrance music, but we'll have to do it a cappella today. So thanks for coming, welcome. So I'm Phil Alfano. I have been with Apptio and now IBM for 16 years, which is longer than a lot of y'all's kids. So I have a lot of experience to share here, and coming up to join me shortly will be Bill Primerano, who is Worldwide AI Analytics CTO for IBM. And we're going to do a little role play. I have some hidden props back here that will hopefully make this fun, not the least of which is this peel-on mustache. Now, if you think about it, I am competing with my older brother. So Bill is in the corporate finance function, and I'm going to be talking about how IT interacts with corporate finance so I can satisfy my big brother's desires to stay on budget, but also fund all these exciting AI initiatives that we have planned for the year. So my part of this early presentation is intended to create anxiety and fear and uncertainty and doubt. All right, so I'm the anxious guy, and Bill's going to come in with the kind of the panacea to fix everything. So let's talk about why we're here and why we think this is a tremendously huge problem. So if you look at these numbers in small type, $644 billion of spend in AI, and 76% year on year. I mean, usually we think of a big statistic in growth as like 30% growth, and we're at 76% at least based on these numbers. And yet only 40% of the strategic alignment of generative AI spending is coming from existing budgets. So where's the money? Is money under here? Is it under the monitor? We have to go find the funding or to create initiatives that become self-funding. And yet, anxiety alert, right? Cost anxiety, 90% of CIOs cite out-of-control costs as a major barrier to achieving success. And there's a lot of FOMO. People are investing in AI just so that they won't get left behind. But this notion of kind of blank checks, I don't know, unless you're managing the United Arab Emirates Sovereign Wealth Fund, like a gentleman I met yesterday, most everybody has at least some fiscal pressures on doing and deploying AI. So key findings, we're seeing this increase of IT budgets from typically 5% of revenue to 8.5% of revenue, again, because of this big bubble in AI spending. And if you ask Peter Thiel, he might tell you it's a bubble. So we'll be interested to see. But that's why you need ever-increasing amounts of empirical data to prove out the use cases. And so this notion on the right-hand side of your screen, 22 to 27% of IT spending on initiatives to directly or improve or transform business performance. So there's a lot of growth, and I think we're all feeling it. And it's not just, let's deploy something and getting into pilot mode, but we actually have to show some business improvements by deploying these technologies. And so what we mean, and Apptio was founded back in about 2007, and we have 20 patents or more on our platforms that started out by translating a general ledger cost center and chart of accounts view of the world into an IT service view that's a lot more actionable, right? FP&A people understand accounts and line items and POs and so forth, but that doesn't translate into consumption of IT services. So when you look around the kind of four corners of this diagram, you have infrastructure and services. So whether you're bringing GPUs on premise on-premise or you're consuming cloud infrastructure for AI, there's a new semantic layer. So if you think about your services, they're typically being charged based on token use, right? So input and response tokens. It's not just about the infrastructure. It's when we as consumers interact with the support website, how may I help you today? That consumes some matter of tokens that then you respond to say, well, I need to reset my password, or I need to inquire as to my bank balance. This is a new metering that's not just about infrastructure. We then look at different models, and we see our customers are comparing the performance of different models for the same use cases and doing A/B testing to say, for a given use case, whether it's generative or whether it's agentic and you're on a website trying to get an answer, you need to be able to not overspend for these returns. And so then you have labor, and we've seen labor change. Anybody read Project to Product by 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗀? It's a good book because it's talking about there is no longer a world of waterfall where you work for 6 to 9 months and then deploy a project, and then you have capitalization rules and so forth. We are doing iterative. We are organizing in teams. We are taking items off the backlog, and we're delivering in the form of story points and epics and agile release trains. And if you're not, then at least most of us are operating in some kind of a hybrid form. And finally, when you talk about governance and outcomes, this is where everybody's coming up with kind of shoulder shrugs, like, what did our million or multi-million-dollar investment in this AI platform actually give us besides this great feeling that we're not missing out because we're riding the wave? So you have to start measuring the outcome of AI initiatives in some empirical way. Is it designed to increase revenue or customer retention or net promoter score? Are you trying to work on mean time to resolve so that by having some of your easier cases managed by robots and remediated by robots, then you're freeing up your human capital to pursue more higher level cases, right? These are the kinds of outcomes that we're all hoping for, but I've seen a statistic that there's only 5% payback on all these initiatives. So where's the money going, and how can we all kind of keep our jobs and stay relevant and demonstrate to the board and to leadership that we're doing the right things? And let me bring up Bill. So my brother from a similar mother. You should have seen the cab ride I had to go on to North San Francisco to find this handlebar mustache. But I'm proud to, Bill, why don't you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about how Customer Zero, IBM, are kind of using some of our platforms to help be more fiscally responsible.
Oh, what up, brother, baby brother? Bang, bang, boogity, bang, bang, boogity. But my name is 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗶𝘀𝗀𝗏, and I'm going to talk about how IBM saved $4.5 billion by deploying AI in our own environment. And some of the things that we did within AI, and it wasn't just in finance, we took this across the entire enterprise. So within HR, we have an Ask HR bot. How many of you are looking at agents today and this week? Anybody? All right, let's get some of those hands up.
At least 2 or 3.
A couple.
The whole keynote was about that.
Exactly. And so bringing those agents in there is a way to start your process. And that's what we did at IBM. We started with HR. We went to IT, Ask IT. And being able to have a lot of that heavy lifting being done by the agents, by AI. Moved that over into finance. We brought in financial planning to increase our forecast accuracy. We then worked with Apptio and some of our agents to streamline some of the journal entry process. So all of these things combined brought us $4.5 billion in savings. So what did we do with that money? We took it, we reinvested it, and we made a lot of those strategic acquisitions that you've been reading about in the news. And that's how we became more stronger, and we are turning around to be competitive in the market with these acquisitions, and then using some of that investment to bring it into our own products. So really, that's where IBM, when we talk about drinking our own champagne, that's where we started. And we went on this journey post-COVID, so it was only really within the last few years that we kicked it into high gear. So, thank you, sir.
You got it.
Passing the baton. All right. How many of you are in this boat? So when you look at this slide, this was a Gartner study, and 62% of the CIOs really don't feel there's adequate transparency into IT costs. Show of hands, how many people feel that you have perfect insight into your IT spending? Exactly. Well, 63% of CIOs feel like there's a struggle to communicate IT's value. And we know that that is really not where we want to be, right? Well, Harvard Business Review put out an article about a year or so ago, I think it was, and really they talk about the importance of understanding the business value of technology, and that's really where we want to be, right? You don't want to be sitting here saying, well, I spent money, I just don't know where. It's all about that business value. What's the return on investment for the projects that I'm putting in place today? And so I'm going to be talking a little bit about this when I bring up our planning solution, but Phil, why don't you talk about who are the personas that we're interested in?
Yeah, so let's talk about the people. So starting on the left, executive leaders and IT finance folks. First, you want to get your arms around costs and get visibility into TCO. I think of this as the producer view. You're trying to get a cost of goods sold onto the piece parts and the componentry of IT services. It becomes particularly difficult when you have platforms that run shared service, especially AI models that are, being consumed by multiple agents that satisfy different lines of business or different profit centers. And you have objectives and key results. Do people operate by an OKR framework here? Anyone? You guys shy? It's after lunch, I get it. Objectives and key results are intended to be more meaningful ways for the board to communicate the strategy, right? We want to be the leader in increase customer revenue by 10%, to keep customer retention at 88%. Whatever those objectives are, they typically manifest in PowerPoint. Okay, we want to bring those to life and basically align what people are working on. And you're in Azure DevOps and other work management tools. You're filing story points. You're taking things off the backlog. How do you actually know the financial implications of all those back-end things that the teams are doing, and are they aligned to the board's objectives? So all of this is to reduce risk, of course. Then you have people in a BRM or a business relationship manager role. So typically those folks are liaisons between technology groups and the business. Business people don't speak in MIPS or gigabytes or Azure service details, right? So you need somebody to translate, hey, you're trying to go for this business outcome. You need these technology capabilities to deliver that. So being able to analyze and consolidate. As an example, when Apptio got brought into IBM, each line of business, right? We got infrastructure people that run the mainframe. You have consulting, you have automation. Each group is making their own independent contracts with major ISVs. So there's Hewlett-Packard, there's HP.com, there's HP Asia LLC, which all are the same company at the end of the day. Let's consolidate all of these and drive economies of scale. That's part of what the platform does, and help make data-driven decisions. And part of that, so cost without context is meaningless. And so we talk about unit economics. It's a FinOps principle and a big one that we adhere to. So for every service, you should have some measurement of business value. Is it orders processed? Is it cars delivered? Is it number of concurrent users on the website? There has to be something meaningful, and that's what these folks in the BRM role do. And then application and service owners, especially if you're a large multinational and you've grown by mergers and acquisitions, as an example, we had Teams, and we had Zoom and a number of collaborations. Well, those got rationalized, so now we just use Teams. But there had to be a business case that came up and understand who's using what so that we negotiate the right contracts from the get-go. And so cost optimization, whether you're trying to optimize cloud via upfront commitments and right sizing, you're trying to optimize Kubernetes, or you're looking for financial anomalies. A lot of folks in our community get hit by surprises because they're new to their role in finance and they didn't know that a vendor contract was due, and now all of a sudden we have 30 days to make a decision, go or no go, to continue a contract with a vendor. So those are the types of problems that we solve. And so our IBM Apptio solution basically ingests data. We have connectors for any number of platforms. So think about Workday, Ariba, ServiceNow, vCenter, and then all the cloud providers to basically build a mashup of not just financial data, but infrastructure and consumption and labor data to make sense out of who's doing what with the investments and what is paying off. So that becomes particularly difficult with AI because you're trying to quantify, especially if maybe, Bill, we spent, $5 million on agents and then this much infrastructure to support them. But in IBM's own case, is it Ask HR that's consuming it? Is it Ask Benefits? Is it Ask IT? Which agents are consuming which costs so that we understand where the people are going, who's delivering the impressions, and so on and so forth. So helps you save money by reducing costs and optimizing costs and reducing duplication. Helps you make money so that you can take the savings from your run budget and go on to fund that big gap, right, that we talked about in one of those early statistics about how are we going to fund AI from budgets when only a portion is being funded. All right, so being able to understand and manage. So here are the typical outcomes that we expect. 3 to 5% reduction in total IT spend. There's also a speed advantage here. So being able to close the books at business day 2 out of the month, right? So in other words, if we're in November, we close the books for November on December 2nd, we start sharing those outcomes with our business stakeholders, and we start to move faster. Instead of just having annual planning cycles or once every 6 months, we're doing quarterly and even monthly and faster. So 4 weeks is our expectation that you would deploy solutions like this and start to realize savings. Across the bottom is a menu of typical outcomes, whether it's financial transparency, which is a look in the past, or budgeting and forecasting, which Bill and I are going to do a skit on here in a moment. Some people in insurance and banking are doing official chargeback. You set unit prices, and then you recover, especially if you're running private cloud. So how many units of T-shirt-sized private cloud are our customers consuming, and how do we set prices that incent people into the right shapes in our cloud? Those are examples of the outcomes that we do. All right, so Bill, big brother, I want you to talk about IT planning, IBM Planning Analytics.
Great, so I have a question for you first, though.
Please.
How many in the audience do you think are trying to figure out the cost of moving their workloads to an Azure data center?
I would guess some, when I'm listening to people at lunch, I hear, there's also talk about repatriation. Is the cloud worth it? Are we going back? Are we going forth? So I would say a big percentage.
So do you think they can use Apptio to understand those costs?
I would hope so. It would build a more empirical business case instead of just the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Perfect. Well, then when you need to communicate those costs and the return on investment up to the Office of Finance and the investment board, where do you think we're going to go with that? Should we go with Planning Analytics?
I thought we would just save a local copy of Excel on our desktop and email it around to the stakeholders.
Good answer. Well, so while Phil emails those Excel spreadsheets around, I'm going to be working in Planning Analytics because Planning Analytics and Apptio, as you'll see shortly, are tightly integrated. But what does Planning Analytics bring to this picture? Instead of understanding all of the details of moving your workload to the Azure data center or running your Copilot AI project, it's now taking that next look at when you get your top-down budget or you're having to understand that build to the bottom up. Well, planning analytics is an AI-infused analytics engine and a financial planning solution. And when we look at this, we are able to deploy this across the enterprise. So it's not just looking at your IT spending, it's bringing how is that IT spending related to what I'm doing within my operations team, or when I am running a project within marketing, or I need a new system to understand my marketing. So all of that gets to be able to be tied back in a financial planning solution like planning analytics. Because again, it's a one-stop shop for your financial planning across the enterprise, bringing in that AI capability, explainability to what's going on in your numbers, and you have that flexibility and scalability as your organization is growing to stay within the solution. Now, out of the box, what do you get with planning analytics? It's that flexibility to scale, to grow and adapt to changes within your organization, to adapt to those changes in your IT spending needs. You have two main interfaces. So while Phil is using Excel, you can stay within Excel and take advantage of all of those advanced capabilities that the planning analytics engine can bring to you and be able to tie back to those numbers that you are building up within Apptio. You can also go into the web. And you have this all available on Azure, just like Apptio is available on Azure. So you can deploy this right within the Azure framework and now stay in one ecosystem for this. Getting that self-service exploration, into your numbers. You don't have to start digging to find out, well, where is this number? How did I spend in this cost center? You can talk to planning analytics through the agent, through that assistant to get your numbers. So you don't have to be able to deep dive into your numbers. You have that capability with that AI-infused experience because it's all secure and governed. You're speaking to the same numbers no matter if you're in IT, marketing, finance. It's all going to be that same playbook in here.
So in other words, if you want to be running Cloud City, you want to model yourself after 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀😏 But
Yes.
don't make a deal with the empire. You need data to back it up.
Exactly, because you want that fast, real-time decision making.
Right.
As
and you
fast
can't
as
just
what?
wave your hands like Yoda.
No.
Sorry, that's all I could fit in the suitcase.
But when we
would have come out with bigger props.
So you want that fast, real-time decision making as fast as the
Death Star?
Dude, you're killing me. The Millennium Falcon.
Oh, I do have multiple models of that at home.
Why, yes, he does. You think he's kidding. No. So what Phil and I have been talking to you about is Apptio, planning analytics. It's bringing that bridge from IT to finance to the business all in one solution that gives you, on Azure, the ability to understand your cost, understand those contracts, and make those real-time business decisions quickly, easily, and in those interfaces that you're comfortable with. So do you think we should show them what it looks like in action?
Well, I think of Bill and Phil. I think of Starsky and Hutch, Hardcastle and McCormick, peanut butter and jelly, peanut butter and chocolate. There's a lot of things that go really well together. So this is a lightsaber. We're going to use it as a baton, all right? So as we get in, think of the beginning of planning analytics. Big brother Bill hands me down a set of budgetary targets.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Right? So I then go into, because I'm trying to impress my older brother, I'm trying to go in a purpose-built solution. Apptio IT planning. Why is it purpose-built? Well, because you can put in vendor contracts and extensions and amortizations. You can put in assets with a depreciation schedule. You can put in labor even when people are putting in story points as their manner of attribution. Because you may have someone that works in Department A, but their work goes across many different initiatives. So being able to then do all the puts and takes within the Apptio solution and then hand that off to the corporate budget and corporate CFO kind of person is the synergy between these two platforms. So that's why planning analytics and Apptio IT planning go very well together. You can consume them individually, but Reese's Pieces are my favorite. So, you know, you want to, well, peanut butter cups are good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Peanut butter cups. Okay. So speaking of peanut butter cups, how do you bring that chocolate and peanut butter together?
Well, I would think it'd be through a protocol droid that speaks 6 million different forms of communication, like C3PO.
Or you can use the pre-built out-of-the-box connectors
Okay,
within Apptio that we were just looking at.
we could do that.
But it's all about moving your data in and out of the solution easily, quickly, because you want that real-time decision making. So what you're going to do is you're going to define your data source. You're going to define where am I taking that from planning analytics, that ingress into Apptio, and I'm going to define it, name it in my connector. Okay, the lightsaber is moving around here. Once I have that defined, I can go in and schedule this to run. So it's not a one-time process. I can schedule this as my data is changing. I can keep up to date. Now, I need to pass that data back from Apptio because think of it as a subledger into your spending, and the total has to go back to planning analytics to talk to the finance team, talk to the investors. So now you're moving that data on the egress into planning analytics, all again through that built-in connector straight out of the box within Apptio. But at the end of the day, why are we all really here, right? It's not about just talking about Apptio or IT spending and understanding your financials and planning analytics. It's really about how do all of this work together. Here you go, thank you.
Thanks, yep.
Don't cut yourself with that. It's all about how does this all work together with Microsoft, right? So what we're looking at is that combination and the convergence of Microsoft and IBM, that partnership that we have together, and strategically looking at not only how we've deployed on Azure to make life easier for you, but also taking that to the next step and bringing it into Fabric. Because you want to have the ability to do that quick analysis. You want to be able to work within your Fabric environment and say, well, I need to model something. I need to look at my data from 𝗦𝗲𝗀, and I need to be able to go in and look at this and understand what's in here. All right, so what we're going to be introducing soon, and I'll be talking to you about this in a moment, is putting planning analytics inside Fabric for you. So as you're looking at your data and it's coming into 𝗦𝗲𝗀 and you need to model it quickly, you'll be able to go through the workloads in Fabric and find that tile for planning analytics and deploy it right there on the spot. And it's going to take that data source that you point to, it's going to model it and bring those insights right to you. So when we look at the triangle here, at the top we've got Microsoft Fabric because that's really where it's all going to be housed. But then it's going to ingest that data from multiple sources and bringing that right into your 𝗦𝗲𝗀. Those multi-cloud environments, everything is going to be brought right into your Fabric environment. And then we're going to blend the spending control part of Apptio, the analytics part of planning analytics, all in here. So at the end of the day, you have a unified analytics platform that is running on Azure. It's available in Fabric. It's going to give you that cost transparency and optimization, the dynamic financial modeling, and the ability to have that integrated governance and collaboration all in one place.
And one of the only reasons why Microsoft would let us up here on stage is because Apptio's platforms of costing, billing, planning, and target process are available on the Azure Marketplace. So look it up and burn down your commitments with us.
And so, as I mentioned earlier, I was going to talk about we're going to be deploying on Fabric. Well, now's your chance to get in at the ground zero. We're looking for you to come down to booth 1341, so downstairs. When you come down the escalator and into the room and you look off to the right, you see the big IBM logo there. Stop by and sign up to be part of our private preview and test out planning analytics with your Azure and your Fabric data sets and your workloads. So we want to have you come down here, try it out, let us know what you think about it. And so again, come down to booth 1341, talk to us about planning analytics on Fabric, talk about Apptio, planning analytics on Azure, and from there, what are we going to do?
All right. So we came, we saw we triumphed. So this is an example of a customer. So a large publisher. I don't know if you completed high school. I did with a GED, but I did see a few textbooks that were created by this publisher. So think about the challenge. So there was a lack of visibility, financial data gaps, and disjointed business management systems. We're going to show you a schematic of kind of a reference architecture here in a moment. Data silos, right? Even within finance, you have a general ledger, you have accounts payable, you have different unstructured data of vendor invoices, irrespective of labor, so Workday, as well as other work management systems like Azure DevOps. So there was a lack of standardized processes, reports, dashboards, and certainly a reliance on manual processes. What does that mean? It's error prone, takes a long time, not optimized. So we integrated multiple enterprise business management systems, contractor data, work management. We used some of our own platforms like Target Process to be a semantic layer on top. So we evolved processes for team rostering. Think about playing Tetris, right? You want to fit the shapes into the available spaces. It's the same thing with labor. You have people in different regions with different skills on different teams, and you are trying to accomplish the creation and maintenance of your enterprise applications. So this helps you play Tetris. The result, streamlined planning processes, consistent financial reporting, and I don't know if anybody's ever been audited, but they had the confidence to present their labor capitalization data to auditors based on this process because it was defensible, it was documented, and so better resource allocation and strategic decision making. So a lot of really good outcomes, and we're happy to get deeper into additional references upon request. So.
How many of you now, having gone through day one and half of a day today, are looking to deploy a Copilot AI project? Anybody? Any other AI projects that you want to deploy? So, Phil?
Oh.
What do you say?
Thank you. I have the Swedish chef outfit. Morgan.
Cooking.
Okay. Hermde. So, it's probably distracting. So I'll just, I'll take the accent off. I was going to do Arnold Schwarzenegger too, but I put that on the shelf. So think about on the left-hand side, you are trying to build a business case to bring AI in. You will need to use a platform like Target Process that has idea intake. So anybody used a Kanban board? I know you guys, come on, do some arm exercise. Okay, some people are using Kanban. So everybody knows you move from left to right and from evaluation into work. Well, what's the business case behind that? What is the expected ROI? Are you going to go faster? Are you going to make money? Are you going to retain your customers? So then after idea intake, the best ideas rise to the top, not just those who are championed by the squeakiest wheels who get the grease. And you have, in this customer's case, you had ServiceNow request data, you have Jira in terms of issues and epics, and Agile release trains to deliver all this stuff. And so then that goes into the middle, that goes into the financial reckoning. Now, there's other integrations with the likes of Workday, because you want to know where people live and what departments they work and how many people with different skills are on the roster. Integrate that with ERP and general ledger data, the likes of SAP, WBS, work breakdown structures, Oracle Financials, and then Ariba for vendor invoices. And then, Bill, if you want to cover the kind of how PA fits in to this picture.
Absolutely. So after you're building up all of those details, you're working out your project, the vendors that you need, the timing, bringing that all into planning analytics to understand the calculation of your return on investment. Because at the end of the day, it's all about getting that bang for the buck. How fast can you deliver value and then communicate that value and being able to see it. So as you're looking at those AI projects, you're deploying Copilot and getting everybody aligned and ready to go, what are those savings? So the example that I gave earlier with IBM being dollar bill, the $4.5 billion that IBM saved, well, we were able to manage that and measure it through planning analytics to see what was the time saving by automating some of the journal entries that staff accountants were doing. what were the time savings of leveraging Ask HR or Ask IBM in our agents versus somebody on the phone having to research those documents, being able to answer those questions. It's all about that end dollars and cents. So that's what planning analytics is going to bring to this picture, tying it back to the general ledger, understanding the costs, and then that value savings.
I'm going to see if our translator can capture this one.
Okay.
Since I'm watching her on the screen. So Swedish Chef version. The work, the ideas are here again, and then the money, the earnings just come here, and then the outcomes go over here. Okay, high level CFO finance. Here, make the good Swedish meatballs. Okay. Phew.
So do you think it's time to let your hair down?
How'd she do? Oh yeah, it's time to let my hair down now. All right. Phew. Some skit.
Can you tell we've never done this before?
Yeah. Stuff being in corporate finance, isn't it?
That's what I used to look like when I had hair last week. So
That's what I look like without a mustache today. Okay.
I can't do that. I glued it on too tight. So you've seen and you've heard a lot of, other than bad jokes, a lot of information on how to take your IT projects and your finance to the next level, right? So why don't we give them a little recap?
Yep. All right. So IBM Apptio can do, it's a subledger for IT. It's a look in the rearview mirror as to how much things cost. It's a look into the future as to what your financial budgets and forecasts can be, inclusive of everything with technology. We have cloud financial planning. We have labor planning. So all the piece parts that are really hard problems to solve within the domain of technology, that's what we do. And then there is a handoff to my older, better-looking brother.
So within planning analytics, like I said, it's that real-time AI-infused forecasting, scenario modeling. And it's how you get that journey towards your agile financial and operational spending and understanding. And where's it all available?
On the Azure Marketplace?
Azure Foundation, to get that secure, scalable cloud platform, all giving you a unified ecosystem that provides improved transparency, agility, so we can dance a little bit, and decision making, because that was a bad decision on my part to dance.
I look good. I thought it was all right.
Okay, thank you. All right, so what do we need from you? We need you to reach out to us. Other than asking us for advice on bad jokes, reach out to us about the solutions, the technology, how we can make your life better by deploying this software in your environment and have the system do that heavy lifting for you so you can spend more time analyzing versus data mining.
Speaking of bad jokes,
Okay.
With all this cloud talk and AI, do you know what the most predominant male baby name was of 2025?
Don't say how.
Jason.
Okay, nice.
Oh.
You can tell how old I am. I went right to Hal.
Okay.
Okay, so come by the booth, 1341. Talk to us about signing up for that private preview for Planning Analytics and Fabric. Talk to us about Apptio to understanding your cost control and spending, and Planning Analytics to understand that return on investment for your AI initiatives, and give us your feedback. Other than on our bad jokes and my dancing style, give us your feedback. Visit that link right here, complete your session evaluations, because really that's what we need to help us improve what we deliver to you.
And is anybody bold enough to step up to the microphone and ask any questions about what you've seen today? Thought not. It's after lunch. If it was in the morning, they'd be a little more ambitious.
All right, no questions at all?
Okay.
Bill?
Well,
All right,
we're Bill and Phil, the Ono brothers, and we thank you for your time today.
thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Bill and Phil, and thank you so much for attending. What a dynamic duo. The Luke Skywalker and Han Solo of operational efficiency to continue their Star Wars theme here. We would love you, like Bill said, to come visit us in the booth. We're in Moscone South at booth 1341. So let's continue the conversation. We have live demos on Apptio and planning analytics, as well as other solutions to help you scale your AI to its full potential. So please come visit us at IBM, and thank you so much for attending this session. Thanks again, Bill and Phil. That was so much fun, and we hope hope
Thanks,
to see
everybody.
you guys at more IBM
you.
sessions this week.